Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Donna Feazell, and I'm your host of Donna's Edge television, radio, and podcast talk show. Thank you so much for watching every day, Monday through Friday, beginning at 2 p.m. on the Eastern time zone, as I get to ride home with you in the afternoon. You may find us on television, channel 182, close to Huntsville, Alabama. That's on Charter and Spectrum. You can find us another way, and that's on Abundant Television, found on Roku, Apple TV, and Amazon Fire. Don't forget the podcast on thenewscasters.com, and on the radio, on the radio is really neat too, because we've got that. It's like the morning show with the morning show. You got to really make sure you catch, because you're going to find local and you'll be able to find national news there as well. But go ahead and check them out as well. Continue sending email. It makes my day. Donna@donnasedge.com. Donna@donnasedge.com. I've got my friend. She's on the other side of the country. She's on the West Coast, Victoria Lee Scott. So how are things going in California right now? Is it burning down yet?
Well, we have a lot on our plate now.
Yeah, you do.
It's really interesting. We've got mayor races here, and we've got governor races here, which are, I don't know really what to think. I think that Spencer Pratt, this reality TV star, what he has done is, number one, he has made American history, because he is the first candidate to use AI in his campaign. So he will always be known for the commercials that he has done, which have gained a lot of attention, not only in California, but across this country. And he's got a lot to say. And I think that's what our country was founded upon, and that's where we lost it, Donna. We were not meant to go and have people leave our communities and go and sit in those seats in Washington for close to 70 years, some of them, okay? Mm-hmm. So my point is that he is a prime example of what and how this country should be won. It comes from he is someone, not only him, but his parents, his family, everything was disrupted in his life. And he was just the guy that said, I got to speak up and tell the truth as far as what's going on here. And that's really what we're starting to notice in this country, Donna, that the veil has been pulled over in so many areas on so many issues that now, I remember as a child, my father saying to me, and I can tell you this week, I have used this phrase more than I ever have in my life. And when he said it to me, I hated it. And I remember him saying to me, you don't realize how deep a hole you have dug yourself into until you start digging out. Ooh, and I think that's what, and I kid you not, from the time I was a kid, I never really got it, but now I do, because as a country, we have been taught by a 20-something-year-old in a sweatshirt with an iPhone on how corrupt this country has become. There's this kid with an iPhone just exposing things, knocking like, hello, can my kid go to this daycare? There are no children here. We have a problem. This is not just one institution. This is rot throughout this country. And everybody should really start connecting the dots. And the dots, when they had infiltrated and allowed all of these young, healthy young men from across different countries, and then they placed them around this country. If you remember, they shipped them, planed them, bussed them, and and in some cases in Martha Vineyard, carted them in. But
I want to ask you a question, though.
Sure.
And this pertains to California. Okay, so there's a new sheriff in town who's running for governor. And it sounds like to me he's got his act kind of going on there. But how does he cut through? I know you said he was using AI.
No, this was for mayor, not for governor.
Oh, the mayor. Okay, well, let's talk about the
mayor
mayor
against Karen Bass.
Okay.
Now we have that race. And then we have the mayor race for LA, which is quite big. I mean, she's a Newsom. They're partners in crime.
Okay, so here's my question, because people have just been kind of like following along, just whatever. Their friend would tell them to vote for Josie Smith and what. But people haven't been doing research. Do you feel like people are doing a bit more research than they were previous years of elections?
That's a hard question for me to answer, because there are a lot of people doing research but getting false information.
Yeah, because the media that's out there is just nuts.
And if you don't have a good sense of self, a good awareness, a conscience, then what's going to happen is that then it starts infecting everything. And that I think we have to be very careful as to where people are getting their information. AI is so good, but it's doing exactly what it is meant to do. And what really we should wake up and see is that it's got a mind of its own. And one should be very careful as far as where we delve and how we delve. But I think people are being led down different paths, and I don't think there is enough independent stability for people to continue seeking. They'll just take the first thing that pops up because it's there, and that's it. Instead of what we have done is we've shut down that that thinking, what it as far as what we need, and we've replaced it with instant gratification and social media, so nobody's digging even further. I mean, I know for myself, if I find something, well, the first thing, because I graduated back in from 2023. So the first thing I think of is what content also, to cross-reference. And I think cross-referencing is something, in answer to your question in my roundabout way, is that people are not cross-referencing. They're taking what comes up and it hits a bell with them. And have you ever noticed, here, let's do a little something. Have you ever noticed people sending you stuff or information? Let's do that. People are sending you and you really give it a good shot to read it or to absorb it. And then when you finish, you look and you're like, I understand that they were so inspired over it and they were so, but the thing is I wasn't. Do you know what I'm saying? Because and that's what I'm finding, is that people aren't doing things where it was researched enough and something in that research pertained where it struck a chord with me, and therefore you shared it with me because do you see what I'm saying? That's the link we're missing. We're just, and I'll prove it to you. So here I have a girlfriend who's having a hip replacement, and she suffered terribly. The last time we were together, she could barely walk and she was on crutches. Okay. Before the surgery, I call and I do the prayers and everything else. And we talk and, and I say my prayers, for her and keep her going. And we're friends. This is a friend, I would say. Well, the day after the surgery, I get a text message from her that all went well. She's recovering. Thank you, blah, blah, blah. Then a girlfriend comes in, a client, into the salon. And she received the message, but it wasn't meant for her because the one who sent it actually apologized. I'm sorry, this wasn't meant for you. But when she pulled up the message, it was a copy paste of the message I got. And I would, look at your face. Do you see what I was so like, are you kidding me? Are you you get it, right? So I'm not crazy, right?
Okay, I get it, because we've got a lazy society. There is no
Bingo.
thought put into so many things. I've received proposals from people, like people who wanted jobs or whatever, and I've received proposals, and all I've done is a copy and paste. And some have even left the name of the other person they sent it to.
No.
Like, that doesn't seem very personal, and you want to work for me?
And that's my point. I think in answer to what you were saying, everybody is sitting there creating these personas, but they're not personal.
Uh-huh.
And the same thing too. How about, we have a lot of friends with birthdays. Now I have a lot of close friends. Now, when their birthday is on Facebook, I don't find it necessary for me to put up balloon this big, unless they're some, all right, I do. But I have personal friends that I don't do that I call personally on their birthday.
Mm-hmm.
But yet to many other people, I am insensitive to others' birthdays because I don't acknowledge it on social media.
Well, see, there's been a plan, like, this is the ethical way that you need to do things, which makes no sense whatsoever. And you're going, why is that ethical? Who said? Did Emily Post say that? Did Emily Post say that? I mean, it's just like, if Emily Post were around making, like, this is the etiquette. This is the proper etiquette for sending a message to someone. This is how you send a thank you note. What would she say now?
Right.
Okay, because I remember back in the day of the cell phone business, when I first started, it was like, you should never send a client a text message. Well, now everybody's sending text messages to clients. So it was like, that's not the proper way that you should take care of your customers. But there's so much of the lovability I'm talking. And when I say, I'm not talking about it in kind of a weird way, I'm just saying, do you really care enough about a client? Send them something personal instead of something that's from the assembly line. And that's how some messages come across to me. It's like, that was the assembly line message.
Well, that was a real, and I'll be honest with you, it was extremely unexpected. I couldn't even imagine. And if Sandra didn't pull it up on her phone and get that message by mistake.
Oops.
And then that afternoon, sit in my chair. And then I pull up my phone and I look at Sandra and I went, she went, well, at least you got the copy and paste. I didn't get anything. And then
but this makes better sense to me. Okay. Especially, and let's talk about the business world. Okay. Yes. And let's even talk about, the government. Okay. So, I'll give you an example. My aunt turned 104 years old, or 103 years old. And she loves President Trump. I mean, she's just she used to be a Democrat back in the day, by the way. She was a huge Democrat.
Yeah.
Okay, so now she's left Trump and she thinks he's being mistreated. There's nothing wrong with her mind. She stays busy. She believes in writing personal notes. She believes in reading books. She believes all these things that you need to be using your brain for. So President Trump sent her a cap and he sent her a letter wishing her a happy birthday. And I forgot what else. He just sent her a bunch of stuff. And she was so impressed with that. And I said, well, what were you more impressed about? She said that he sent a letter to me. It doesn't look like in her country way of saying it. She was saying it didn't feel like it was generated.
100%. They wasn't made with the auto pen.
It felt personal.
100. But that's the point. That's exactly the point I'm talking about. And it just, it just really, and I sit here and I say that, but I'll be real honest with you. When the reality of that hit me, that hurt. This is my girlfriend. Like, wow, I'm sitting here on your journey, which I'm not going to change. I'll still keep her in my prayers. But, the Lord makes us see what we need to see. And I think we're allowed to see things in order to protect ourselves and learn from them, not so much to stay there and allow them to hurt us, So, but it's just very interesting as far as, all of it. I have another guy now who's been sending me videos up he is Marilyn Monroe's nephew, and he's the last of the Monroe family. Mm-hmm. And he was furious yesterday because Palm Springs had a Marilyn Monroe tribute yesterday, but he was not very happy with, I guess, the way her legacy is being, it's just merchandise, and people are just, just sucking it dry.
It's all about the money at this point.
You know what I'm saying?
Really, it's not her life. It's how can we benefit from this and make money off of it? I was like,
that's what it turned. That's exactly what he was pointing out yesterday, and I understood. I really did. I mean, he's the last of the family, and actually, I think he said that they have a Marilyn Monroe exhibit in L.A. And I told him, I said, well, I'll meet you for lunch and let's go to the exhibit. Take some pictures and, he's a radio personality on Easy Way Radio. Do you know that, what I wanted to ask you? How about, you have your radio station, right, on Saturdays?
Mm-hmm.
I tell everybody about it, by the way.
You're on it.
But what I'd like to do is I'm wondering if we can schedule that in your studio to play every Saturday at that time.
Oh, that would be a good thing to do.
I know. I thought of that this morning. How can I help Donna? I'm like,
now here's what he's doing. So what Phil is doing is he's sending them, like he sent your video.
Yes.
And the last show that you and I did. And of course, people are listening to that and they're hearing this, woman from California. Well, she's not liberal. So it's like, wow, somebody from California is not liberal. So that usually your shows are going there, and in some sense we'll put other shows on there as well. But it's every Saturday.
Right, but I don't need to put the show, or we can put it on the schedule so the radio show will play in your studio every Saturday. You don't have to do anything. Murray schedules it to play.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well,
we have a few. We have another one who does her show schedules 11 o'clock every Saturday, the 11 o'clock hour. So I was thinking today that's something I'm going to look into for you. If we could just schedule. So you're on air anyway, right?
Yeah.
So I think there's a way that the schedule, and it would just pick it up on your studio.
That would be great.
Wouldn't it be fun?
I'm not the person you asked technically about that. Phil is.
And I'm not either. I come up with the ideas, and then I give Murray things to do. Okay.
Yeah. I told you the story about technical stuff. You remember? Okay, back in the day, we bought a computer. This back when they were like $5,000, and it was like a kid would laugh at it now. It was huge. It was just nonsense. But everything back then was DOS. We didn't have all the Windows stuff and all that stuff. So I thought, well, I'm going to help Phil out because he's doing the books and he's paying the bills and sending out invoices and all that kind of stuff. I erased it. I erased the bookkeeping system. And so there I was. He comes in and I'm just like crying. I'm carrying on. I'm saying, I can't believe I did this. All these hours you've put into it, blah, 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 blah. And he's just standing there looking at me. And I said, will you just get mad at me? Get mad and yell and scream. I deserve it. And so what he did, you remember the floppies that we used to have, the 5 and
Yes.
He did. So he pulls out a floppy and he goes, Jesus saves. And so do I. So we had everything on the floppies. And then I got mad. I said, you're letting me scream my guts out and cry and carry on and all this kind of stuff. And you could have done that to start with. But I said all that to say this. It seemed like it was simpler back then. I liked the DOS program, but this is back before graphics and all that stuff.
Well,
we were able to
it's very interesting because it can be. We are making it harder.
Yeah, we are.
We are. I think as simple as things are going, the roundabout way that we're getting there is what's happening. I think things were a lot simpler. I mean, but I also like the technology of today, though we have to be very careful.
I'm kind of both. But because
that's what I'm saying. I'm like,
and there are some aspects of AI that I like. And I can understand we've got to be careful about that. But I'm just saying AI is not perfect. You really need to proofread things. That way you're not going to be sending somebody else's name out to whatever. And but wanting things in an instant is really, I mean, I'm that way too. I want things done like yesterday. But then I also understand there's a process, in other words, to do things the right way. to
Right.
make sure you get the right information out there. And you and I use that process in getting news out there to people. And so, but I always wanted to ask you, because we're so inundated with nonsense.
Yes.
It's like, all the national networks. I mean, they get all the same memo, and all it is a different different face reading a different outline to something. That's all it is. But what you do as newscasters, and what we're able to do, is put different faces out there with different meanings and different newsworthy items. I mean, and that's what makes you guys different. And I think people are tired of the same old, same old. Do you feel like people are getting away from legacy media now, and they're looking for other platforms like the Newscasters Studio?
100%. Well, let's face it. What we do, Donna, has grown by like 37%. And it's a $32 billion industry in advertising now. And that's just since January. I mean, it's incredible. But do I think that? I do. Because I think, even if we put on legacy media now, I mean, I don't feel the Fox News, are you kidding me? And then you've got CNN and putting on movies and shows. And I'm like, wait a minute. We should never be lost for news. When you started becoming, I mean, this whole thing, with our media, it's very interesting. Let me tell you something. When I was a kid, I had a nickname, a few of them. But one of them, my father continually called me Hedda Hopper. I knew that'd make you laugh. And here I am going, Daddy, I am the president of a social media podcasting news network. What? Are you serious? But I remember being made fun of, Donna, terribly, because I wanted answers. I wanted the truth. And that's what they didn't want to do. So it was easier. And that's why in my business, I'm good at what I do, because I lived it. And as a child, I had 7 at one time after my father remarried. There were 7 brothers and sisters. And let me tell you, I'm the middle of my 5 brothers and sisters, brother and sister older, brother and sister younger. So I'm that middle child, that forgotten middle child. But I always had a lot of questions and I wanted answers. It was easier for them to label me a liar than to answer to the truth of what I was asking.
I get it. I know that's happening.
And I, and now it's all related. There is a comfortability on what I've done in building the newscasters, because they were calling me this when I was a kid. What? So you think it's going to hurt me now? Serious? No, I am not the podcaster. That's not my job. My job is to get 250,000 people to do what we do, and that's the platform that is built here. This, it's very funny to a lot of people, but I know that what this is, and I don't care how many podcasters, and as a matter of fact, I have 4 tomorrow, new ones to interview, and more the rest of the week. But I have 4 on my book already tomorrow, and every week I'm in, new people. But it's a place where, YouTube got real big, and it's the only saying, go to YouTube. But there's a lot of dark holes, and there's a lot of garbage on YouTube. Why not build something that is more streamlined? Take your garbage, go on YouTube. I don't care what tricks and stunts and whatever you want to do, go do them. Just not here. Here, yes. I want people that, citizen journalists have been pushed aside for a very long time. We have people that have held our seats in Congress. We have people that have bought their way into our local governments. And we have media that just picks and chooses the same retreads over and over and over and over and over again. And every once in a while, you'll throw somebody else in there. Well, the world has changed. And the Newscasters Studio and you, Donna, Donna said we're part of that change. And that's because we believe that we had something solid, something good to say, and we couldn't do it in 2 minutes. So therefore, this worked for us because we can sit and talk to people and get to the root of issues and talk about, I love your different segments. I love Sunshine Traffic Report. I look forward. I really do. I love when I see like date night. I want a date night.
You love that Southern twang, and I've absolutely got that. We've got to go into a commercial break. Can you believe this? Okay, we'll be right back in just a few minutes. Everybody hang in there. I'll be right back with my Southern twang in just a minute.
my Long Island twang.
Twin City Used Car Sales has been serving drivers in the Northeast Alabama area for years with a quality selection of late model used cars, SUVs, and pickup trucks. On top of our extensive selection and competitive prices, we offer professional auto financing services for used car buyers of all credit levels. Whether you've just begun your search or you're ready to secure your next vehicle, at Twin City Used Car Sales, you will drive away with the vehicle of your dreams. The sales and finance staff at Twin City Used Car Sales looks forward to serving you, and you can apply for financing online before your visit to our used dealership in Gadsden, Alabama. Check us out on the web at twincityusedcars.com or go by our location at 901 First Avenue, Gadsden, Alabama. We sincerely look forward to serving you. You know, finding the right home isn't just about bedrooms and square footage. It's about comfort, security, and the feeling you get the moment you walk through the door. That's why so many families across Greenwood and the Lakelands area trust Jenny Ferguson with Keller Williams. And I'll tell you from personal experience, Jenny was my realtor, and she truly cares about her clients. Jenny takes the time to listen, to understand what matters most, and to guide you every step of the way, whether you're buying your first home, upgrading, or ready to sell. Because this isn't just a transaction, it's your life. With local knowledge, personal care, and a commitment to getting it right, Jenny Ferguson makes the process simple and even enjoyable. So if you're thinking about buying or selling, now's the time to make your move. Call Jenny Ferguson with Keller Williams in Greenwood today and take the next step toward a place you'll truly love coming home to. Shine your style at Kiss My Glass right here in the Anderson Mall. There's a place where style meets sparkle. At Kiss My Glass, every piece is handcrafted, custom designed, and made to shine just like you. Owner Beth Gibson brings creativity to life with stunning custom tumblers, gifts, and one-of-a-kind pieces you won't find anywhere else. Look for the perfect gift or something uniquely you, from bold and glamorous to simple and elegant. There's something for every style, so stop by, get inspired, and leave with something unforgettable. Kiss My Glass inside the Anderson Mall, Anderson, South Carolina, where your sparkle begins. Be sure to check out Kiss My Glass on Facebook for updates and specials and gift ideas. Okay, folks, we're back. My name is Donna, and I'm your host of Donna's Edge television, radio, and podcast talk show. Thank you so much for watching every day, Monday through Friday, beginning at 2 p.m. on the Eastern Time Zone, as I get to ride home with you in the afternoon. It's always so much fun. And I love talking with you, and I love getting your email, because your email kind of helps keep me in perspective, you know, and things that you would like to hear about. That's what we're out there to do. Victoria Lee Scott is with us right now, and she's really making it work out there at the Newscasters Studio. Again, people with a voice that want to be heard. We never had this before. I mean, it's so relieving. A friend of mine, and he has his own talk show. He's had his talk show for decades. And so CNN got in contact with him a few years ago. His name is Dave Mack. And so Dave said, CNN wants me to go to work for them. And I'm going, I didn't tell him because I want to bust his bubble, but sure. That's not going to last, because he is one of the most conservative people I know, and he speaks his piece, whatever it is. So a month goes by and he's ready to leave it. And so, yeah, he comes on my show and he said, I have no voice there. It's none. And
wow.
I have no friends there. They look at him like he's just a piece of, you know what? And he said, it's not working out here. And I said, Dave, you need to be you. You need to have your own. Where nobody owns you, go back to that.
That's right.
And he said, well, that's what you need to do too. Nobody needs to own you because you've got a voice as well. I need to get you in contact with Dave. I think he would be a perfect match. I think he would probably love to be on the Newscasters Studio.
I would be great.
But see,
And that's what it's about, Donna. It's about people that do have something to say. We have, I have gotten more compliments on the Newscasters Studio as people go in. I love showing people around. And that's one of the differences. Because as soon as somebody wants to talk with me, they send me their Calendly. Here, make an appointment. I'm like, you know what? That doesn't work in my world. Here's what we're going to do. You're going to call into the studio and we're going to talk and I'm going to show you around and I'm going to show you. It's like we've lost that touch. I mean, and it's bad enough that AI is already doing our thinking and our wording for us. And now we have robots. They say every household is going to have one. So that's going to be doing all that. I mean, like, what are people going to be doing? And I just think that it's time that we start using that and helping one another and going a little bit more into detail with each other rather than everything's just surface.
Yeah, but let me ask you another question because
Sure.
I know you mentioned AI and I can see where that can be a mess. I mean, a total mess. But I can also see where it's good. But I wanted to ask you a question because it hasn't just started with AI.
No.
I mean, this started a very long time ago because I remember being in school and I told you about coming in one time and, they were talking about, like having an abortion. It's just a form of, birth control. That's not a real baby, and people were falling for it. I fell for it. And then they were going on and on. And this is little country schools too now. They were going on and on about women's rights. Women don't have rights and all this kind of stuff. And so I came in from school one day and we'd get off the bus at my grandmother's house, who's very much liberated. She was a conservative, but I'm talking about she spoke her mind. She was not like barefoot, pregnant, beat around woman. So she ruled the house. So I came in and I said, what happened to women's rights? I mean, I'm just saying that to her, what happens to women's rights? And she looks at me and said, what are you talking about? And I said, we don't have rights. And she said, what do you mean we don't have rights? And I said, that's what you're telling us at school. Women are just like, we're trotted on. We're just done this wrong way. And my grandmother looked at my granddad and my granddad said, Sybil, do you feel like you don't have rights? And my grandmother said, I feel like I got rights around here. I don't know what she's talking about. So it's like they wanted to raise us, you and I, from the 60s and the 70s. They wanted us to believe all the other nonsense about women not having rights. But these same thugs who are supposed to be women's rights movements are okay with men playing in women's sports, men being in beauty contests for women and winning it. By the way, I don't know why anybody in their right mind would want to be in a beauty contest anymore if they were a woman, because all the agenda is for the guy who thinks he's a woman to win. You'd never win.
Yeah, that's the way it's
for nothing. So what happened there? What happened between, and it started even way before that. It started with the soap operas in the 50s. My mother and other women were listening to this nonsense. That's when divorce rates started going up. They were having divorces all the time on soaps, remember?
Oh, yeah.
People see all of this stuff on television and they think that's how life is.
That's right. And that's one of but that's what it's meant. Remember, it's called Tell a Vision. Mm-hmm. That's what it's meant to do. It is meant for people to create them in that vision, and it's just a distraction. It's just but that's why Tell a Vision. I'm like, oh, off you go. When I hear people in my salon and the garbage, I have no idea the things in the shows they're talking about. I'm like,
I don't watch anything.
No idea who you're talking about. What? You binge? What's binging? Oh, no, I got other things to do.
Let's talk about the Kardashians. Okay. I've never watched one of their shows. I've just heard so much about them on social media. It's sickening. I've seen so much on that to make me say I would never want to see a rerun of that show.
Right. And you know what? I've never watched any Grammy, Oscar, or Emmy or award shows. I've never watched award shows. I just never have. I don't care enough.
I don't see the
truthfully.
point.
It's entertainment. I don't care enough. I just don't. I'll get the clips here and there. I don't need.
All it turns into is a bash against President Trump. I mean, that's all it ever turns into.
Right.
It's political. Who cares? Just get your award and shut up. I mean, why does that have to turn political?
Well, because they really don't have much to go on. I mean, let's face it, that's kind of like the only thing they have at this point. There is nothing positive. I mean, draw something positive.
I've turned into Archie Bunker from All of the Family. I have turned into that because I remember Meathead,
Yes.
Sally Struthers, they were on there and they were constantly going to movies and stuff like that. I remember Archie Bunker one time said, that's all they do. They all jump into bed together. What are you watching? So he had that, and then the turlet, the flushing and all that. But I turned into him. Why do we want to watch that? Why do we want to poison our brains watching a bunch of nonsense like that?
Well, you got to go back to the Roman Empire. They did it to distract the gladiators, the arena. All of that was to distract. It's no different. They're meant to distract. That's what it's meant to do. I mean, there are some good things out there. Don't get me wrong. But right now, I think, everything. First of all, I have a really hard time with chuckle politics. When you got 5 people sitting around a table and nobody's coming up with any answers to anything, but they're all laughing at everything. I just don't. It's like, I don't find that funny. I'm sorry. I have a 29-year-old. I don't find that funny. As I'm watching
that. Yeah, I don't even like to watch Fox roundtables. The last time I watched, remember Juan Williams? Okay, he was discarded and made fun of by the Democrats, so they had him around this table of 5 people.
He's been gone a while.
Yeah, but he was like the dumb one of the table. I mean, it was just like, and he still, even though they threw him under the bus, he would still take up for them. What was wrong?
Do you see what they do to Jessica Turley? What Gutfeld does to Jessica? And Jesse? I mean, I'm surprised she still keeps coming back.
And it's like every network has that. A bunch of dumb people. The women on The View. How is that show still?
How is that? Don't know. That I have no idea how that is.
There are a bunch of hackling hens that do nothing but make fun of the right. That's all they do. And they try to throw one person in there that could be a conservative. They try their best, and it never works.
Never works, because the truth, that's the difference. What they don't realize is, what? The truth. If you are building on all these little falsehoods and to grab this from here and that, you know what I'm saying? When it comes down to it, when you need to pull from that, to stand on what you stand for, you're going to have nothing there. And that's what's happening. And there's nothing there.
Yeah, but wishing death on a president of the United States is, and they're not shy about it. I mean, they come right out and say it. Back in the day, I remember my grandparents, all my grandparents were really, really, really folks who were into, the political world. And I remember my granddad one time saying that on the phone, now this is when we had rotary dial phones and all that. But I remember in the 60s, my granddad said, you should always be careful what you say on the phone, because there are certain words that are listened to, even back then, that are triggered. So you'd better never say anything bad about the president of the United States. You're going to have a bunch of folks in suits knocking on your door to take you away and put you in jail. So why can people get on social media and wish death on the president of the United States or on any conservative?
Well, because at this point, let's face it, nobody in our government has been held accountable for anything. So if you are not leading by example, then the example is going to start leading by itself. And that's what we're seeing. They don't fear any of that. I mean, seriously, the desensitized that has gone on in this country to everything. I mean, it's crazy to me how, and I don't know what we've been doing for the last 20 years. Do you know what I'm saying? It's like, I know what you and I have been doing. But when I look at the big picture out there, especially when I talk to people, and you and I, as we talk in conversation, we always have something in our little bag here, our strength, hope, and our experience that we can reach into and bring to the conversation.
Mm-hmm.
What I'm finding is, I don't know what people do, but their minds are blank. It's like I told one of my clients, it was like, do you just go home from work and sit on the couch and that's it for the rest of the night? And she's like, yeah.
Like it's normal. Like it's
normal. That's my point.
And that's not no. So this is the thing. Okay. So what is really weird is normal now. And what is normal is weird. I mean, it's like you're considered a weirdo if you think that, oh, I don't know if that's a man or a woman. I mean, and I think it's okay for people to be confused about that. How did we get in the world? How did we get to that point?
Well, I think what happened, Donna, is that, when you start, everything that to where we've gotten to today has not been because a big sledgehammer came in and smashed it all to bits. It's not what they did. They came in and took all that we are, our education system, our political system, everything. And all they started doing was chip,
one bite at a time,
chipping away. Let's face it. Once they were able to take gay rights and shove them down our throats for how long, and once we swallowed it, we did. They spoon-fed it, and sooner or later, America just swallowed it. Oh, yeah, I got a gay cousin, a gay father, gay mother, we all swallowed it. But then when they ran that into the ground enough and we accepted it, now we need something else to divide and conquer. Mm-hmm. Bring on the transgenderism. Pandora. Who's to say in 20 years that bestiality isn't going to be legal? I am not kidding. I am not kidding. The way we are going, the way they justify things, that anything goes. And the problem is it's not you and I anymore that are making these decisions. We have 2 generations under us that are now becoming young adults that weren't raised like you and I.
There was a woman. This is so funny. I thought I was going to die laughing. I thought this has got to be AI generated somehow. There is literally a woman who was in love with her tree.
Her what?
Yes, she's in love with her tree. I'll have to send that to you. And then there was a guy who married a hologram. Yeah. Wow. Needless to say, the parents didn't come to the wedding, but anyway, he married a hologram. This is enough. Okay.
Well, and you and I, that's how you and I feel. But we have 2 generations under us that there are things, socialism. They were raised to glorify socialism. You and I were raised to hide under the desk when the Russian bombs were coming over our heads, okay? Mm-hmm. Big difference.
Absolutely.
But we have 2 generations now. So you and I have to continue doing. That's why I'm so excited to be able to be in this position of the Newscasters Studio, because I'm talking to young people. I'm telling these young guys, this is your responsibility. You need to step up. It's not nonsense. We need, we need to somehow reignite and unite voices back together again.
And I think they're out there. I think they're out there. We're not connected.
Well, that's exactly what I'm saying.
The right is connected. I'm just telling you, they find ways to connect. We've got to get better at that. Let's go into a commercial break, and we're going to be right back in just a few minutes. Good afternoon, Sunshine. Medical Minute brought to you by Dr. Chuck with Lakeland's Chiropractic, where an ounce of prevention is worth what? A pound of cure. So what is the Beamer? Okay, now the Beamer uses very gentle pulse to electromagnetic signals. This will stimulate healthy muscles, and it supports the temporary blood flow. Now let's talk Beamer and circulation support. Now, the Beamer gently supports natural circulation in healthy muscles. Now, that's what I call natural health. Thank you so much for watching Your Medical Minute, brought to you by Dr. Chuck. You know who he's with. He's with Lakeland's Chiropractic, where an ounce of prevention is worth what? A pound of cure. I hope you have a super duper awesome rest of the afternoon. You take care. Okay, we are back. My name is Donna, and I'm your host of Donna's Edge Television, Radio, and Podcast Talk Show. I've got my friend Victoria Lee Scott with me right now. Victoria, I wanted to ask you another burning question, okay?
Sure.
Because let's pretend there's no social media. Let's pretend we can't even text with each other. Okay, we're in a world where we're actually seeing President Trump. Okay, all filters, all that kind of stuff. Let's just forget it. And I know a lot of folks are disagreeing with the president. Even some Republicans are disagreeing with the way President Trump is handling things right now. But sometimes you can't see what the outcome is. You can't see what is going to get us to the outcome. And that's when people start getting restless.
Right.
Okay. I'll put it to you this way. So a long time ago, Brad was about 7 years old. And I was dropping everything, for crying out loud. I could not hold my rollers in place. His makeup was fine. I mean, it was just like, where are my clothes? I put them out. I know it. So it was like I was being detained, And so we were running late. I had to get Brad to school. Then I had to get to the office. And so there was an accident just right up the road. And Brad, the smart one, said, my son, 7 years old, said, "Mom, had we been on time, we would have been in that wreck." So see, that was a timing thing. So God was saying, you're not ready yet, because if you go now, you're going to be in a car accident, possibly get killed. It was a doozy. I don't know if anybody, I never heard if anybody got killed in that wreck or not, but there were police, there were ambulances all over the place. And it was just right down the road from our house. So in your opinion, is President Trump, he can't give the secrets away. I mean, so in your mind, is he working on something that's going to be the outcome of a lifetime?
I'm going to put it this way. I think whatever he's working on is going to change the world as we know it.
For the good or for the bad? For the good or for the bad? For the good or for the bad?
Again, I think it's divided.
Well, let me give you something to look at. Okay, so if all the left, all the demons in hell were not totally against this man, does that mean that they know something good is going to happen from this man and they're just trying to blindside everybody? So there are different ways of looking at this scenario.
There is quite a few different ways of looking at this. And that's getting back to what we were talking about with people having to go more into the context of what they're looking for rather than just the surface. Because if you just stay on the surface,
it looks bad on the surface.
Yeah. I mean, we've got to go a little bit further. And it comes down to a question here. Do we trust our president or don't we?
I trust him. And I'm just going to tell you this one thing right here. I am the biggest tightwad on earth. Phil can tell you he married somebody who doesn't want to spend a penny without, I'm going to think this out first. I'm one of those. I'm not happy with paying high gas prices, but I would much rather pay higher gas prices and have a little bit of peace right here on our end of the world in the United States. And I think it's short-lived. I think we're doing that right now, but I think we're going to I think there's a light at the end of the tunnel.
I do not think, because I know this president so well, and I am a New Yorker and I've watched how he does things, and truthfully, I've learned from his example. But I do think somehow that this 250-year celebration of this country is not going to have something to wow us and ignite. Because right now, what we need is American ingenuity, ignite the Americanism, that we can do anything. Look around you. Look how many people have walked away. Look how many people. Look you know, and that again, I don't think he is going to let something in our history this important, not this president, something by then is going to change this country. Do I think one of the main goal is to ignite and reunite America? Yeah, I think that could be very well one of the biggest plans. But we don't know because it has to go back to everything we've talked about, Donna. It starts with what we believe in here. In order to, if you want to look at something, you know, you can look at something and see the cup is half empty or half full. That's your choice. But I think it's very important that we at least give the cup some attention, that we at least look at it.
Yeah, but when somebody is constantly, when a group of people are constantly trying to kill somebody, I'm talking about not only kill them in death, but kill them with their every being, their business. I mean, when people, okay, I've had disagreements with people before, but I've never once wished their business go bad.
Right, right.
Wished they were dead. Is that not kind of an evil force?
Well, let's face it. Yeah.
It's okay.
It's a huge evil force. And that's what we have to realize, Donna. It's time for us to wake up. It's time for us to put on our big panties. I don't care if they're girls or boys. Put them on.
Mm-hmm.
You know, armor. He told us. Armor. Put your armor on. I do think that we have allowed the negative, the evil, we have allowed that to fester here. I think, you know, we have encouraged it, we've allowed it, and we've idolized it. Mm-hmm. But I think now is our time, and I don't think that this 250-year anniversary is going to go unnoticed by this president. I think somehow he's going to wow America.
There's going to be something that even the Democrats are going to be going, oh, it may be short-lived, but they're going to go, wow.
Yeah.
Don't tell anybody, but wow.
But we need that, don't you think? We have two generations that know nothing about the pride of America.
We have these generations who don't know how to sign their own name.
I know.
They're having to be taught that. So I was talking with a lady, and she homeschooled her kids, by the way. And of course, she taught them cursive handwriting because she knew it was going to be important. She feels like by design that if she didn't teach her kids cursive handwriting, they're not going to know how to read the documents from 200 years ago. They're not going to know how to do that. But she said that there are people, and by the way, it was at a gardening meeting, and smart woman. I mean, I'd take her over anybody in politics these days, except for President Trump. And so she said, no, other kids are seeking my kids out to teach them how to sign a check.
Right.
How to sign.
They have no signature.
They can't even open a bank account because they can't sign their names. Now, you tell me that's not done by design.
100%. Get them all dependent so they don't even want to learn, or they have no desire to learn, because in their world, the signature is unnecessary. Take my phone, click, click.
Mm-hmm. You know,
I had that when I was helping my girlfriend who owns the baseball team over at the local high school here. And this kid was in high school, and he came up to the snack bar, and I turned the thing around for him to sign. I said, well, sign. He said, I don't know how to do that. I said, what do you mean you don't know how to? I said, you're in high school? You don't have how are you going to sign anything? You don't. I said, I suggest that you go home this afternoon and YouTube cursive and learn to sign your name. High school, you can't sign your name?
But they say you can't teach an old dog new tricks. So what's happening is these kids are turning into old dogs that can't learn the new tricks on cursive handwriting. This is so extremely important. So if you have kids who don't know and you haven't taught them, this is why I got so upset about the calculator incident. You remember that?
Yeah. Yes.
This was in the 90s, and I was upset about the calculator. I was going nuts about that. And because I thought my son would be cheating if he had a calculator in math class, because during mine and your day, you would be expelled if you brought one of those Texas Instruments. Remember those first ones that came out? Texas Instruments from Radio Shack. And I wanted one so bad. My parents would not let me have one. They said, up here. Keeping up there. And I'm glad they were that way about that. Now Brad had to have the calculator. And so, but at home I handled it.
Right.
You do things in your head, don't be relying on that, because you always think this, what happens if, okay, so, and I've wondered about this in most schools now have no windows. You notice that? All the new ones that are out there are no windows. I've often thought about that. What if something happens to electricity? What if
it's only going to be a matter of time before it's only going to be a matter of time before they shut down our internet, just to see how much of an impact that'll have on the next generation. You know what? That's a thermostat waiting to happen. You do know that, right?
Yeah, but that could be the best thing that ever happened. But you know who is going to win it? The people who are going to survive, me and you. The kids who are homeschooled, and everybody that knows what a garden is. Those are the ones who are going to make it. And so I know a prepper. His name is Ron Foster. And Ron is from Alabama. He lives in Lower Alabama, lives close to the beach. But he is a prepper from a long ways ago, and he has written several books. This guy, I would love to have his brain.
Wow.
So he knows how to do things. And he said, do you ever wonder about the outcome if something happens to the grid? And I said, well, I think I can make it. I mean, I like electricity. I like being able to do something with my hair with electricity. So I'm into electricity. I don't want to live on the grid like you do.
Right.
It's not my thing. So I like bits and pieces of all of it. And he said, but think about this. He said, people can't do anything without electricity. He said, people like you and I are going to flourish because we're going to be teaching classes to the people who don't know what a seed is.
That's right. Isn't that crazy, huh?
That's the way
I also saw you drying out those big leaves. You're drying out.
That's my comfrey plant.
I love it. I love when you're in there. That's one of my favorite videos, when you're walking around and everything that you grow. I love that. That's kind of my favorite.
Well, I'll have to tell you this. So you're going to see one about chickens.
Oh.
About my chickens. You're going to see how we feed the chickens. You're going to see all of my corporate friends from way back in the day are like, you're a farmer now?
Yeah.
Because they used to see me cruising around with with a suit on and all this kind of stuff. They didn't know this was in me. And I said, well, back in my corporate days, I didn't get, and I'm much more free.
Yes.
I'm free. The show is doing better. I'm flourishing with the show. And I get to do what I want to do. I'm not being held accountable by a CNN or a Fox or anybody like that. I've got the Newscasters Studio who lets me be free. If you are thinking about, you've got a voice and you want your voice to be heard, you need to get in contact with Victoria Lee Scott. You've got to.
That's it. We've got sports channels, cooking channels, music channels, doggy channels. We've got all. People are just coming. And like I said, I have 4 podcasters tomorrow interviews. But that's what this is about. This is about giving everybody a voice. And the good thing about it is what you and I do here. We cross-pollinate. Right? I mean, I want Phil to send me the shows I do with you so I can put them in my studio. So I need this show from Phil so I can put my, why not?
He's going to get it to you. Give him time to get it in.
Sure will. I love you, Phil.
All right, 30 seconds. I do too. 30 seconds. 30 seconds. How can folks get in contact with you, Victoria?
First, go in and look at and listen to a few of our podcasters at thenewscasters.com. And if there is something, we have an apply page right there in the studio. We own the network, so you won't be shut down. It won't be censored. You have a free voice here. And you can email me at victoria@thenewscasters.com. You can follow me on, as a matter of fact, my threads just hit 52,000.
Ooh.
Yeah. Which is, and that's only in 30 days. So we're growing. So that shows me we're growing. If I see numbers going, I'm like, I like numbers.
I do too. And I like to see those numbers go up. And I know
we like to see them go up. So you know what? It's about uniting strong American voices. And I always thank you so very much, Donna, for inviting me on so we can talk and just keep people connected. That's what this is about. We like
to chat, and people like the natural chat platform, and we got it. We're going to have to go. Victoria, thank you so much for being with me. It's always a pleasure. It's always an honor, and I'm so glad we're friends. I don't know what I did in the world without you, girl. I don't know. You guys,
got a California girl here.
Yeah, you're Alabama Southern girl going right here. And in North Carolina right now. By the way, they have
That's
my
what I
next.
was going to say. We got to get rid of Alabama. You've moved.
Still in the South, but I'm loving it. Guys, thank you so much for being with us. Continue sending email. It's an honor that you send email to me. I appreciate it. Donna at donnasedge.com. Donna at donnasedge.com. Thanks for watching.